Can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, please leave a comment. We'll be starting at 10 a.m. Can everyone hear me okay? Can anyone hear me? Can everyone hear me okay? I can hear myself, so I'll assume that you can hear me. So for those of you who are already in here, I'll be speaking a little bit about myself. Hey Alice, I follow you on LinkedIn. I like your stuff. You know a little bit about digital twin as well. But about me, here's my website and my YouTube channel. Feel free to have a look. We're going to get started here in about 4 minutes. This is my first time doing a LinkedIn Live event, so hopefully I won't be fumbling around too much with technology. Alice, have you used Tandem at all? I'm not totally sold yet either, Alice. There are some things that are still being addressed. Hello, Ame. Hello, Chad. Chad, sorry. I need glasses for my glasses. right, so let's go ahead and get started then. So quick about me. So my name is Devin Shea. I have been using Revit for 17 years now. I'm pretty much a BIM consultant, but I'm also a practicing unlicensed architect, also a photographer. So I have been teaching Revit for 17 years. I have worked in 20 or 30 different disciplines within Revit. I've worked under architects, structural engineers, electrical engineers, general contractors, and anybody and everybody using Revit. So feel free to have a look at my website and follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube, where I post a lot of my tutorials, and I'll be doing LinkedIn Live events hopefully every week now. Start slow going, but let's just get into the meat and potatoes here. So Autodesk Tandem is a faculty maintenance program, or what is called a digital twin. So it is addressing a huge hole in the industry. So we architects and engineers, we build these beautiful Revit models, and then we basically print out construction documents and give them to the owners, which the owners will use a hodgepodge of different 2D methods to run their projects. I've worked on several huge faculties and done quite a bit of consulting for owners in the terms of how to use all of this information. So one of the big holes in the industry is we will create these beautiful Revit models, and then the owner basically just throws them in a file on a server somewhere and never uses them. So this is an attempt to build a program that the faculty owners can utilize the BIM information, because the BIM model is great because it holds all this information, but nobody tends to use it. So this program is sort of intended to where we can take all of our BIM models and load it into this program, and then it allows owners to do inventory, and hopefully in the future, we will be able to go into a faculty and scan existing conditions and then load in our laser scans of existing stuff and have it in the same model. So first, I'm just going to talk about the setup of faculties and whatnot. So you go to Tandem, and then you have a Manage and a Faculties tab. So you just go in here and create a new faculty. You can start off with templates, and the templates essentially we use master format or uniclass division codes. And you can go in here and give it a name and an address and whatever. And then once you do that, all you're going to do is load up your Revit models. So you just go to Import Models. This works great if you're using BIM 360, because this will tie directly into BIM 360. I'm not a member of any projects right now. But essentially you just load in your Revit or your IFC files and you're good to go. This also recognizes phases. By default, if you just throw a model in there, it's going to classify it as new construction. But if you have actual phases, you just tell it what phase that you're in, and if you spell it right, it will work. And then it will load in all of your models. So you can look at existing conditions, new construction, or whatever phases that you have in here. So I'm going to go back to this tab where I have a couple of projects loaded up here. So I have a really large file and a really small file. So I'm going to first look at the small file here. So I have This is a very small house that I designed for a client. And I have loaded up 3 files. So I have the electrical model, the structural, and the architectural model. So if I just turn this off here, we'll see what this looks like. So how this works is you have sort of a filter that is sort of native to Revit's filtering system. So we can look at all of the models, and then we can select or filter things by categories or whatever information that you have in the file. So if I just go and turn all of these on here, you see that it will break things up as floors, spaces, and any categorization that you have built into your model. So we can see that we have Revit families here. So if I, for instance, go down here and pick, let's go for lighting fixtures. The annoying thing is it just kind of puts every categorization of your families in here. So I'll just click lighting and appliance panel board. So everything else goes to gray here. And we can see that this is my lighting and basically my electrical panel here. So once I select something, I can then go to properties, and it will show me the properties of that item. So this is located on basement plan. It is a lighting and appliance panel board. And then it will have whatever assembly codes is listed in the Revit model. And then it will ask me to add a master format or uniformat, those words, classification to it. So that is this. I'm going to go back to filters here. So once you go to filter, you can also, at the top level, if you just select, for instance, the electrical model, then it will break it down by whatever thing is in here. So we can see under Revit families within the electrical model, these are all the families present in here. So if I, for instance, click 220 receptacle, you can see that it is displaying just the receptacles here. So if we go up here and set whatever filters that we have, so I'm going to filter things by Revit families. So then I can come down here to inventory, and whatever I have selected in the filter is going to pull up essentially a schedule that tells me all of the parameters and categories that I have in here. So if I look at what is in this list, this is basically all of the parameters that are inside of the Revit model. And it is showing me any master format parameters that I assigned to this object. So we can go down here, and just like in Revit, if you select something on the schedule, and this gets a little confusing because I don't have much screen space. As long as I click this follow selection button here, it will zoom to whatever the object is that I am selecting. Another super cool thing about this is if I go up here to Revit families, I have this little cluster by Revit families button. So what this will do is it will sort of put all of the families or whatever I have selected in my filter in a nice little logical order here, so I can then grab them quickly and easily. I can see how many downlight recessed cans that I have, for instance, and it groups everything in this nice little order. So then I can go up here and then I can select different things here. I can use my shift key and I can multiple select things. And then this will show up on my schedule. You can do a little bit of organizing sort of in your Revit schedule to where you can put things in order of categories, so you can kind of categorize this. And as a faculty owner, let's say if I'm doing a quick inventory of how many recessed cans I have because I need to order 2 new ones or whatever, I can then categorize them in this little inventory schedule, and then I can export them as a Excel schedule or whatever, so I can then do some inventory. Another thing that we have available is we have a report button that it will give us a little report per se. So number of elements 666, number of tagged elements 0. So you can come in here and you can tag these guys to where let's say you need to order a new can or whatever. You can tag the ones that need to be replaced or updated or whatever, and then it further gives you inventory classification. Another thing, you can add documents. So if you need to add a cut sheet or whatever of this downlight recess can, you can put that in there. You can also add normal 2D sheets and whatever in there. So users, you can basically invite people. So if you're working on a team of, let's say, 5 people, you can invite them to your project, and then they can use this for their own purposes, or different faculty teams can be in charge of different things, if you will. So what you do here is in Revit, you can add your master formats and your industry codes so that it will read in here. But the way Tandem is set up, you can, whatever you grab here, you can then attach the master format specification to it. So you can then categorize things, and the spec person in your office can then add attributes or whatever as needed. So this is a pretty good little program for categorizing and keeping track of things. And then also, just like BIM 360, this will this has the same sort of user controls that you have in BIM 360 or all of Autodesk programs, to where you can walk around in your model and vice versa. So I'm just really quickly going to turn everything back on here. I'm going to turn off Revit families really quick, and we're going to do a quick, let's do structural framing. So I'm going to quickly go to my structural framing here, and let's see. Then we have dimensional lumber. So again, I'm just filtering. So I went to structural framing, but I want to specify the dimensional lumber here. So now I'm going to go to inventory, and I can see that I have specific, specific sizes and types of structural framing. Another thing you can do, if you go over here to our Manage tab, in the Manage tab, this is where you can set up all of your specification settings. So I can kind of create my own thing. I can use master format uniclass. I can even come in here and add my own parameters here. So this is the adding parameter system is a little wonky. So I'm going to just come in here and add a parameter, and we're going to do, let's see, architecture. It'll just say all disciplines, context, element type, space, facility. We're going to try spaces here. And to this program and most of all BIM things, rooms and spaces are pretty much the same thing. Architects will create rooms, and then general contractors or engineers will convert those rooms into spaces. So I'm going to come in here and do space test, data type text, and then you can restrict it to specific values. Okay. So what I just did was I added a parameter here. Also, you have faculty templates. So you can sort of create your own template, if you will, that will have your own custom specifications and all that. And this is just your organization and usage. So it'll tell you how many hours and number of elements, tagged elements, so far, so forth. That made no sense, but anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Enjoy Your Res here, and I'm going to go down here and clear out my filter again, get off of this, and so I'm going to grab some spaces here. So I'm going to turn off my electrical and my structure, and I'm going to go to spaces. Let's see if we can, this did not really work here. So I used my cluster here to go to spaces. So let's grab a space and see if this will pull up in here. Okay, so the weird thing is, so you guys saw me create a parameter, and let's see if we can find that parameter that I created. Top constraint, actual depth elevation. So I have not yet got this to sort of work. But essentially, when you add a parameter, it should show up in here, which I have not yet been able to find my custom structure, custom parameters in here. So let me go to properties. So I should have, something went wrong. Let's try to grab this one. Okay, so my properties aren't showing up at all. I must warn you that this program is still sort of growing, and it is a little wonky still. So let's go back to properties, assets, faculty template. Okay, so notice how it's not really doing anything when I grab this space here. I'm going to turn this off of cluster really fast. Then we're going to try to grab this room. So Tandem says that, come on. Tandem says that the rooms and or spaces are still being perfected because as a faculty owner, one of the major things that you want to be able to do is, I think that this is wonking out on me here. One of the things you want to be able to do is grab the room and pull all of the data from the room, like room finishes, all that information that we utilize from a faculty maintenance standpoint, there's still sort of fixing in the program. So as you can see, I can go to bedroom 103, but nothing is pulling up. So again, a little annoying here. Let's go to here. You can also edit colors, so you can color coordinate these things. So I could come up here and turn this bedroom to a different color, and everything associated with that room will go in there as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is switch over to a larger example. So this is a very large aquarium in St. Louis. If everybody's been to St. Louis, this is called the St. Louis Aquarium. I helped out the architects PGAV with this project because we had to build an Unreal video game to show to the client. So we used Revit to do all the normal architecture work, and then we exported all of this to a video game, Unreal. So I'm going to turn all of these things off really fast. I'm going to turn all these off, and then I'm going to turn on the architectural model here. So in this model, we have thousands and thousands of objects and assets. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take a walk through the model. First of all, I'm going to go over here to my section analysis tools, and I can create a section and section this guy up so you can actually see things. So I'm just going to cut this down to the level 1. So in this aquarium, it's we're going to take a walk through the crazy curvy building, and we're going to look at the shark tank and all the good stuff this museum has to offer. So I'm going to go and click on first person here, and I'm going to double click in here. It always wants to select something for me here. So for those of you who have been doing Autodesk stuff for a while, this is pretty normal. It's just the walkthrough camera. So I'm just going to take a quick spin through the model here, and I'm just using my keyboard to do my video game walking. You can adjust your camera and whatnot. I want to pan, I want to zoom. I'm going to try to do this without messing up everything here. I'm just trying to get to a actual, there we go. Okay, so I went back to my walking cam. I just had to get a better angle there. So we can walk through this thing. So I'm just going to take a quick spin through the model here. Just like in all Autodesk programs, your walk mode is not really walk mode because you will eventually walk through the ceiling. But this is an exhibit in the aquarium. And we'll just take a quick spin here. Hello, oh, look at that lovely thing. Look at this lovely thing. And just like in all Autodesk things, if I want to walk up this escalator here. Oh, it actually recognized it. So now I'm upstairs, and if I get out of first person view, so this has a lovely walkthrough system and all that good stuff. So now let's go and find some objects in here. So this is just for the, actually let me turn on the electrical model, and then we'll go and look at let's see, give me light fixtures. Turn this thing off here. Grab a light fixture. Okay. So you'll notice that if you're not good with labeling your families, it will become very annoying for your faculty folks. Let's see, I'm trying to find just a light fixture here. Lighting fixtures. Okay, now I'm going to go to cluster mode here. So depending on the size of your file, so I just turned on cluster mode for this guy. This file is so large that whenever you go to cluster mode, it bugs out. So turn off cluster mode, turn off cluster mode, thank you. So I can also go up here and I can use my selection window, and I can go to inventory, apply the filter, give me, let's do spaces again. So here we are in spaces. Notice how I have a bunch of selected stuff in here, but my filter is going to pipe types. Great. All right, so this is pretty much all we have at this point. Let me go to turn my filters off here. Filter is messing up, so I have spaces selected, and make sure I don't have anything else selected. So what we have to do so far today is, this is a pretty good program for showing your clients. It's pretty good for categorizing things and creating reports, but this program still has a lot of room for improvement, because as you might have seen, we added some new parameters, but for some reason we can't really attach those custom parameters to the object yet. So do you guys have any questions for me? Did I skip anything important here? Anything that you guys want to know? Go ahead and leave it in the comments. Any questions? Any questions? I'm going to go to the bird holding space real quick. This is the bird holding space. Oh, I forgot to mention in the very beginning, you have to, if you're using multiple models like this in here, you have to use shared coordinates, because if you don't have it set up for shared coordinates, it will shoot all over the place. So shared coordinates is very important, just like in normal Revit. If you don't have your shared coordinates set up, it will be all over the place. So even if you have things lined up by default center to center or whatever, those aren't shared coordinates and your models will show up out of alignment. So anybody questions? Alice, are you still there? Did I teach you anything new today? Any questions, guys? Questions? So I did the beta testing for this, and the first thing that hung me up was I inserted a project that had multiple phases. And if you don't manually type existing or whatever, then it ends up disappearing because it won't be on new construction. And every time I would hit a snag, I would ask the Tandem team, why is this? And their answer would be, we are working on that. We'll be back to you soon. But I think I specifically asked them about the rooms and the spaces because from the faculty maintenance standpoint, that is the most integral thing. People don't really care about the light bulbs and whatnot. The software that faculty owners use is usually pulling from the room and the space objects. So I think that's a very important thing that they need to fix. So Alice says, as an owner, do you want to search this way and a way to find and manage an asset? I think the way that they have it organized to where you can search it by category is very easy and straightforward. However, I have found that you can't really edit your schedule like you can in Revit itself. So I can go down here to edit columns and I can delete certain columns in here, but it's a little confusing in the terms of what information that you can add to the schedule. So I can come down here and delete, here's an H. I can delete these rows and I can make it a little toe kick height that's coming from one of my families. Room number. But as you can see, it's hard to put your custom parameters in here. Revit element, R and H. So I've yet to find my custom parameters that I have created in here. Sanitary Spencer, stills, top rail, profile. But as you can see, there's literally every parameter you could ever think of inside of this program. Todd, are you a faculty maintenance person? can you give us a little information on what you do on a daily basis in terms of finding and organizing things? Okay, I still can't find my parameters. Let's go and try to do a... Okay, so I'm gonna look for shiny metal. So here is so there's just no way to, so thus far I cannot find these custom parameters because theoretically you would go in here and make a custom parameter of some information that you want to track and add it to the list, but I can't figure out how to do that yet. So all right, well, I guess we have no more questions, any more comments. I guess we'll end it for today. And just to let everybody know, I'm going to be doing, I'm currently living in Vancouver, which is a little time warp of, nice. So I'm currently living in Vancouver, British Columbia, where BIM is sort of 10 years behind the US. So I'm going to be doing a weekly sort of Q&A in Revit. So if anybody wants to join my future live sessions, I'll be posting them on my LinkedIn page. And you're welcome to send me messages and tell me what you would like me to discuss. But thanks everybody for joining. Todd and Alice, thanks for participating and ask questions. And yes, Todd, databases are sort of the way to go, but I think this program is something that is steering towards the future because it allows you to see actual 3D assets instead of just digging through a boring database. And so I think this program is not really here, but we'll get there. So thanks everybody for joining, and I hope to see you in the future at my future sessions. Please leave some comments and feel free to ask any questions that you might think of as you are thinking of stuff. So thanks everybody. I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Be sure to follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube, and feel free to browse my website. Thank you very much.